Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of What the Systems, where we showcase amazing coaches, agency owners, doing amazing things in the industry. Today, I'm joined by Megan. Thanks for coming on, Megan.
Of course. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're from Tampa, Florida, the
Yeah.
Sunshine State. That is
Mhm.
awesome. I met Megan. We connected via Instagram, and actually, this is the first time we connected for in real time in person. So thank you for taking the time. I always like to start off by kind of asking people like, what do you do professionally, and how would you identify yourself when you meet someone for the first time and they ask you, what do you do?
So that's always such an interesting question for anybody, especially millennials in the online space. I feel like when people ask you, like, of course, we're closer to the holidays. So now I'm thinking, like, what do I tell my family that I do? I don't really know. But what I actually do is I partner with overwhelmed CEOs, and I actually help them turn all their stress into systems. So we dive into your business and find out all the bottlenecks. We'll call you out on your, are we allowed to cuss?
Yes.
We'll call you out on your shit. We will move forward with after calling you out and actually getting everything put together so that you can remove normally yourself or any bottleneck that's in the way. And now we can scale. So we'll hire your team and help you scale on the back end, which is really, that's my favorite part.
I love that. And how long have you been doing that for?
We've been doing this for about a year, getting paid for it. I actually started in systems when about 3 years ago, I started building my friends' back end systems. I actually worked for my family's company and got all of my knowledge in from working 9 to 5. I would buy the courses, learn the courses. We would implement in an established business that was already put together. And then my friends all started agencies, coaching businesses, stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, this is easy to put together because it's not like you have a pipeline or a huge integration issue that we have to do. So I'll just build it for you real quick and then you can plug and play. And so I started doing that with my friends. And I was actually trying to get into coaching at the time because I was like, I want to stay in my 9 to 5, keep that. And then because it's my family's company, and then I want to do coaching on the side. And it just wasn't it for me, like the coaching clients that I was getting. And it just was not where I wanted to be or what I wanted to be doing. So earlier this year, January 2021, I actually started a systems agency. And from there, it's just taken off through referrals and everything. Left the 9 to 5 around June. So it took off really fast. And I was able to really just focus, grow my team. I have 5 people on my team at this point.
That is awesome. What was that feeling like when you finally put in your 2-week notice, like I'm out? Like, what was that feeling like?
So because it was my family's company, it was a little bit different than I think just the
Got you.
normal 2-week notice. First off, I did not realize how integrated I was with the company and everything that's gone on. Like nobody knew what systems I had set up. Nobody really saw or knew like what the sales system, like what was happening. It just kind of worked, right? So it was which we're still kind of going through the transition. Like we find stuff every once in a while. Today I actually had a call. It was funny that you brought that up, but today we had a call because we found something else that I thought that was handed off. I thought was correct, and it wasn't. Like I didn't explain it correctly in that SOP that we wrote because it was, older. Anyway, so it was really exciting, especially since I had been trying at the coaching area for about 3 years now. And so it was like it finally worked. Something finally worked. And it just so happened that it was in the agency model, which I was like, wanted nothing to do with when I originally started. And I love it. Absolutely love it. Would not trade it at all right now.
So you help agencies then at the end of the
Yes.
day, like Facebook ad agencies, SEO agencies, marketing agencies, digital marketing agencies, things like that.
Yep. So I have web design agencies. Yeah. All the agencies you named, podcast agencies. Agencies are a big part of our clients. And then normally what will happen, which is really nice in the online space, is each agency or the person who creates the agency has another arm of their business, which is often coaching, courses,
Right.
something else. And so we end up systemizing agencies and coaching product suites, stuff like that. So we do them both, but for one client.
So you've been doing this for the past year where you're getting paid. That is
Yeah.
awesome. What are you currently doing to find clients?
My clients, a lot are referral based. And then we also have most clients end up actually staying on board with us. So we'll do their initial systems build, which is a 3-month period. It gets built about a month and a half. Then we go through testing, edits, stuff like that. And then the last month is getting all the SOPs completed and hiring the team and getting them onboarded. So that is what the 3 months looks like. And then what's happening is a lot of agencies, they want us to stay in their business as like the integrator role. And then we also have an HR team. So our HR team stays on top of staff, making sure like everything's good. They do the touchy feely stuff that a lot of times entrepreneurs forget to do because so many of us are not touchy feely when it comes to managing staff and stuff like that. So I do have an HR team that will make sure everybody's really good. And so, yeah, so that's what happens. So I have the project base. I do have people who just hire me for the project. We build a project and leave. But right now, just more agencies are staying on, which is fun because I love getting to see the backside and what gets created. And even though we work with somebody for 3 months, what can get done in a whole year is it's been a wild transformation that I could have never put words to watch.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's pretty cool to see like sort of like the process that you built for yourself to actually onboard your own clients and actually deliver the work that you're going to deliver. Now, a lot of the times systems is such a broad word that a lot of times it confuses people. Like, what is a system? Right. So if in your own words, if you can explain like to you, what does a system mean? Like, how would you explain that to like a 5-year-old?
So systems are, to me, like this most simple way I say it is how you get from A to Z. Like that's it. How do you get from A to Z? We can make it as fancy as possible and we focus on your sales, operations, onboarding, your client thing. That's great. But really, how do we make it happen?
Right.
And so what I agree so much with you, and I've been talking to my team about how wide systems are. And I'm like, what we do is so not what is in the market for like what a system is. And so like bringing this word into the same market, I feel like it's watering down what we do. And this has been a reoccurring conversation with my team because we have been talking about like, what do we actually do? So it's technically systems and automations is what we've come up with in like what's happening in like the trendy words online. But yeah, systems are how you get from A to Z and how does it happen smoothly?
Yeah, essentially what you're doing is you're using systems and automations as the mechanism to deliver the transformation, which is what you said, you help overwhelmed CEOs. I think you said get back their time. I forget what it was.
Turn their stress into systems.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That is actually pretty catchy. Cool. So you, all right. So when you find a client, and obviously right now a lot of them is referrals, right? What is a typical conversation with an agency owner? Like, what do they like the initial conversation when you're doing the I guess you could say the discovery or the sales call? Like, how does a business owner see the value in that? Like, how do you present your value?
So with the agencies that we're working with, and what I unfortunately am seeing reoccurring is one, there's not enough education around running an agency. There's a lot of education around funnels and coaching and courses and all this stuff, but agencies are kind of left out here because they've been known as like this awful thing that you shouldn't do unless like you want to be broke, basically, is like the reoccurring theme I keep hearing. So when agency owners get to me, they have been already trying their best. They've been learning from as much as they can learn. They've been, reading the blogs, doing all the things. And like I said, sadly to say this, a lot of times by the time they get to me, they've been crying all the time. They are at their burnout area. They know that they can't keep going at what they're doing. They have hit a plateau in their business. So sometimes it's money related, sometimes it's client onboarding. Most of the time I find that it's money and patience and personal burnout, like the mindset. Yeah. And I do work with men and women, but I have found that my women are like done, like they are just exhausted. They have nothing more to give. My men, they will keep hammering away at things, but they will not be hammering away at the things that are needed in order to get the systems completed. So like I have some men clients who, if we give them a task list, they will execute every single day. Like I never have to worry about them executing because they will stay up late, do all the hours, whatever they need to do. But it's going to come with like us forcing, like saying this is what we need, or else they'll be doing something that doesn't even matter. It's like five hours away.
Yeah.
But my women, by the time they get to me, it's a real overwhelm. And it's knowing and understanding, like, if we can't get this fixed now, then it's done.
That's interesting, the way you've been able to bucket, this demographic and this demographic, and actually realize how men are, just what the internet promotes, grind until you make it, and just the hustle life, right? How do you set those expectations? Because I can imagine that being so difficult, trying to have a business owner like you telling them what to do, right? Because typically when someone starts a business, they think of, I'm gonna be my own boss and I'm gonna do my thing. You're gonna tell me what to do. But obviously everyone needs help. So how do you manage those expectations and those relationships?
So it goes into partnering, like that, just literally changing, instead of I help, we partner with people. That has made a huge switch in our clients' minds. And like, we will hop on a discovery call and I'll say, like, this is a partnership. We're going to expect XYZ from you. Please know that like these are hard due dates, because if you don't, for some reason, perform on those due dates, you're going to get pushed back, because we have an agency to run. And in order to stay on track with your project, we're going to have hard due dates unless you communicate with us. So having those really firm boundaries has been really big. And I realized I didn't fully answer your last question on what makes the sale to sell. So this is a big thing we've been learning with the boundaries and changing the word to partnership is, like, some people like that I've lost deals with, they saw us as an OBM, which is an online business manager, which to me is, there are great OBMs. I'm not downplaying anybody, but I also feel like they're a glorified virtual assistant. Like, I feel like Americans had to like take it up a step further and say, we're actually OBMs, we're not VAs, because VAs got watered down with overseas people, which is, I have a team of VAs. I love them. I actually have Americans too. But so we've lost deals because of that, because our messaging wasn't right. And then once we kind of like scooted over a little bit, I don't know, pivoted, I guess, and how I said different things. We realistically come in as like the COO of your company, the integrator, which if you read any systems books, eMyth, Revised, Traction, you need an integrator in your business. And then we also have OBM, like technically OBM services, where we come in and like get you caught up. And so this is all part of our package. So when I'm talking to people, I clearly communicate in the way that they know and understand roles, and say, with you hiring us, we cover each one of these roles. So when you go to hire us, just know, like, I charge a premium fee because I have a premium team that brings you a premium service. And I want you to know and understand, like, you're at burnout, we'll fix that in about 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks and we'll fix it. Like, you'll be caught up on work. You'll have SOPs so that when we hire somebody to come in, they're going to be ready to go. And now we build your systems to do what they need to do.
Man, if I had a business, I know who to go to, because like 2 weeks is not even a lot. 2 weeks is not even a lot. And I'm thinking like you need a month or 2 months to actually.
So our average system does take about a month. Like, I'm not going to say it doesn't. It definitely does. But where you can feel the pressure release is about a week and a half to 2 weeks, because it gives my team enough time to like get in there. Like, I have a really great client right now where she has a book, a New York Times bestseller, and she likes collecting all the reviews and like categorizing them so she can have like great feedback. Like, that's a task she was behind in, and her herself was doing that. I couldn't even believe that when we took it from her. But it's like that. It took my team 2 days maybe to go through all the different areas that book was published, like make sure we had everything. And we do like an initial pull. So I have one team member do the initial pull of data, and then I have another one go and do review to make sure nothing was missed. And so within our back end system, like, so I know where stuff's at. You get 2 days and we just caught you up on the task that you were dreading because it was going to take you hours. And so that's why I say 2 weeks, because we relieve the pressure within 2 weeks.
Right. Wow, that is awesome. Okay. Well, and you mentioned something like you are an integrator. So you get you partner up with the business. You did mention something along the lines of roles. You cover multiple roles. Can you explain a little bit more about that? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, you cover roles?
So so many of us leave corporate America. So I happen to have a little bit of a different story because I worked in my parents' company, right? But it was still very corporate-y. There were 30 American employees who had to come to the office, including during COVID, which was a whole event, keeping
Yeah,
a
I
fully
can
staffed
imagine.
office during time when, like, everything was shut down. It's in the financial industry, so there is no shutdown in the financial industry.
Yep.
And so my experience is with that. And so we hear, whether it's in email books or traction, whatever books, you hear that there's like positions and you need to be building your agency or coaching business as positions. You as the CEO right now may be wearing a hat as like the CEO, the COO, the financial manager, the sales manager, the operations manager. Like, you may be wearing all 80 of the hats that go on in business, but you're taught to divide those out. So as you grow your company, it's very easy to start delegating certain things to certain people.
Mhm.
And so that's what I mean by different hats, is like, if you as a solopreneur or as somebody who has a smaller agency coaching business, you currently have 80 different hats on. We'll give us 3 of them. We can at least remove the 3, get you caught up on the task, operation, delivery area. And then from there, it gives you the mindset that you need and the clarity that you need, so that we could start plugging people in to removing more and more tasks off your plate. Because if you're behind on client stuff, just the people I work with, like, their heart hurts. Like, they don't like being behind on client stuff and deliverables, and they will put their soul out there to make sure that their clients have a great experience. And so by taking away some of that stuff immediately and relieving that pressure, they have the chance to be like, okay, now I can hire a sales manager. Now I could hire a social media person. Now I can hire this. So that's what I mean by hats. Like, we
I
too
got you.
often have too many hats on.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, like I mentioned, I can totally resonate with that because I was wearing multiple hats
Mhm.
last year, a year ago from now. So
Were
it
you by
sounds like
yourself or did you have a team?
it was a short, like a small team. It was me and then 3 other people. It
Okay.
was small. But yeah, I can again, it's very, everything you're mentioning is sort of like it rings true because I've experienced it.
Mhm.
And I can see the value that you bring to the table, obviously, because obviously I see it and I've been in it and all that. How long does your typical client usually stay with you?
So if it's project based, it'll be 90 days, 3 months. But
Mm,
most of my agencies end up staying with me. Honestly, my agencies that have stayed with me have not left yet. So I don't have those numbers yet.
okay. And how
So
long
right
has
now we're
it
at
so
about a
been?
year. My very first client
Okay.
is still with me to this day.
That is honestly, that's actually really interesting because for whoever's listening to this, whether they want to do a systems agency or are thinking about doing something like that, you can tell the stickiness that comes with that, right?
Mhm.
So okay, so but right now you're only getting referrals at the moment, correct?
Yes.
Have you thought about maybe running ads or
Yes. So
outreach?
this is a fun area that we're getting started in. So I actually joined a mastermind with a very popular funnel builder site. And um,
ClickFunnels?
yeah, ClickFunnels. I didn't know if you said different softwares.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I joined ClickFunnels Mastermind. I'm a big advocate of Funnel Hacking Live. Love it. It's one of my favorite conferences every year that I go to.
Nice.
And so I did end up joining the mastermind this year. So I'm finishing up my challenge funnel. I already have a webinar funnel. And yeah, so next is ads. We're gonna start practicing with ads. I'm
That's
nervous.
exciting. Yeah, it's good, but like the thing is like you're at least you can deliver. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing. And you know that you stand behind what your product, your service,
Hmm.
which actually leads to my next point. Since you do a lot of different, and again, I don't know if you're like sort of like the detail of like services that you offer. I'm
Uh-huh.
assuming there's a lot of, obviously systems is a huge thing and there's always systems for everything and processes. So I'm
Uh-huh.
curious to know, are your services at this moment productized in the sense that like so you're gonna hire a client, you know what's next, or is it kind of like, do you need to come up with a game plan to figure
So
out how?
I
Yeah.
often know because I've researched the client. So like before I hop on an onboarding, before I even hop on a discovery call with you, I've probably figured out a lot about your life. But I like to research everybody going into every call because we give away a lot of information on our social media accounts.
Yeah.
Even for me, like you very rarely see my personal stuff on my social media account. But if you go and like research enough, you can figure my life out, right? We're all kind of investigators at that point.
Yeah.
So I do, before my discovery calls, I often research people, research their business. I know a lot about them. So in my mind, I have a game plan, but I get on the discovery call, I'll hear their issues. Maybe that goes along with my game plan. Maybe it doesn't. And then if it does or doesn't, whatever works, and we go into the onboarding call, I do actually require about a 3-hour onboarding call where I dig into their whole business, get all their passwords. Like you have to think, when you're, especially if you're having an agency or in a done for you service, like what is the pressure that you're relieving? For me to build systems, the pressure I'm relieving is that my client is overworked, overwhelmed, exhausted, near burnout, crying. They have all the negative emotions about business. So the last thing I want to do is be another thing that they have to do on their to-do list every single day. So the first week I work with you, we are on a 3 to 4 hour call. It's 4 hours, because if you have a coaching business, there's a little bit more. But if it's just an agency, about 3 hours. We go over every single intricate part of your business, and my team's on the call with me. It's not just me. It's a
Nice.
recorded call. My team is on. We are building live, asking you questions live, getting all the stuff that we need. And basically, by the end of that call, you'll have a rough draft game plan of what's about to happen. And then you'll get a whole project management board of what the next 8 weeks is going to look like. And so it's very much like a one and done type of like thing. Then I do require biweekly meetings with them, and it's an hour long biweekly meetings. If you need something otherwise, you hit us up in your Slack channel. Do not email me. I'm not going to email you. You'll just write us in Slack. So I get added to all my clients, their team communication channels.
That is okay. So that's interesting. And I like the way that you bring your whole entire team to the onboarding call.
Not the whole team, but my leadership team. Yeah.
Leadership team. Okay, cool. As far as like, okay, so once you get to the onboarding aspect, I'm assuming these clients have already paid, because you're not going to invest 3 hours into someone.
Oh yeah, no, you in order to get myself or my team on a call, if it's not a discovery call or not a paid call, you're paying.
Gotcha. Are your discovery calls free, or do you charge?
Yeah,
I know
yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good to know. What kind of agencies do you work with at what level? Because obviously, again, not every agency needs systems because they're at different levels. So I'm curious to know, like, how do you pick and choose who you work with, besides obviously mindset? But yeah.
So most of the agencies I'm working with, because they are referral, they're all at a very similar area. So this is a great question that I've not had an issue with at this point. They're solopreneur, maybe have one virtual assistant, one assistant, but they may not be full-time. But most of them are all of them are making 6 figures by themselves. They are doing really well in business. They're just tired. And so that's like kind of the level we're at.
Yeah.
I've had one person who had a team put in place, and her virtual assistant, who was like her integrator, actually worked with me directly. It was like she just needed higher level training, but she actually executed flawlessly. If I do that, she did great. But it was so if they have a bigger team, so normally I work with an integrator of their team.
Gotcha. Okay. When you say 6 figures, do you mean, and again, you don't have to answer this, but are you saying like monthly 6 figures, or like at the end of
annually?
Annually. Gotcha.
Yeah, if you're making monthly 6 figures by yourself with no systems, kudos to you. You definitely need us, because you should not be doing that. That's crazy. I actually read in a book the other day. So I absorb like everything systems around me, like at least once a quarter, I'm reading systems books and really diving into what's going on in the industry, doing market research, stuff like that. So I actually read in a book that the average business does not start really investing in systems until they're about the $500,000 to $1 million range, which to me is crazy, because there's a few of my businesses where they came to me. I have one, she's literally made $10,000, and she was like, my first investment is having systems, because this will not work if I have to keep doing this. And then I have all the way up on the other end, I'd say that I know dollar figures wise, one of my clients has made about 700,000 by herself. And so it's like this range of like, I can do it by myself, I just don't want to, and it's not long term. So it's a weird area. But like, I like to help. Just all the free content I put out is helping you in that $0 to even $100,000 range. You can absorb my free content and be great there. At some point, when you just don't want to do the systems yourself, or you need help or understanding, my creative, sometimes it just doesn't click. Then from there, I'd say like 50 to 100,000 and up.
Gotcha. Okay. So 50 to 100. Okay. Got it. That's good to know.
Annual numbers.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Trying to think. I had a question, but I literally just lost my train of thought as you were speaking. I guess what kind of softwares do you use right now? Let's talk a little bit about that. What kind of
So
software?
I like to see what my clients are using before I give any input or feedback on what they're doing. So I use Airtable. I've used the Airtable. I'm not a huge like lover of Airtable. I know they're out there. It's not me. Will we build an Airtable? Yes, but I could do the same stuff with more capabilities and more automation inside of ClickUp. More internal automation. Let me say it that way. More internal automation inside of ClickUp. I really like ClickUp. I've used Asana. I still like ClickUp more. And then I've used Go High Level. That's why I asked you about that. And they have great options for coaching and like consulting, but for agencies, I think you need more of a project management board. So I like to revert to ClickUp, like complete transparency. Yeah, ClickUp's going to be my like go-to if you don't already have one that's very integrated in your business.
Gotcha. So ClickUp. I've played around with ClickUp before. Not very. I think, don't you offer like a free something with ClickUp?
Yeah.
I actually downloaded it. I opted in. I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago. But I never got around to it. Full transparency. I downloaded, but I never got around to it. But
that's that freebie, people. We're going email list.
Exactly.
Nobody opens it.
Exactly. All right. So ClickUp, Go High Level. Do you use Go High Level or no?
No, I don't.
No.
But I did a how in depth you want to get. So Go High Level, you can white label. And so I've worked with a few, I have a pretty big real estate following just from my prior career. And so I have friends in real estate. So I've built their systems. And they use a version of Go High Level, whatever it is, white labeled. There's like 20 different real estate softwares that are white labeled Go High Level. So I just say Go High Level.
Yeah, it's the truth. I mean, especially now since they're promoting SaaS and everyone's now doing SaaS and trying to white label it and turn it into a quick buck. They don't realize that it's actually a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. And the automations that you could do with Go High Level are not possible with a lot of the white label things unless the white labeling people pay for that automation to be added in Zapier. So it's like, so sometimes I'm like, this is really a better software if we just use Go High Level.
Yeah, 100%. I like High Level, but sometimes it's very, very buggy, very buggy. And I don't know, they're good at bringing everything all at once, but they're not masters at it, if that makes sense.
It's so interesting because all of these software, so I join like any software that I use a lot. So ClickUp's what I use for like project management, stuff like that. I love ClickFunnels, love the ClickFunnels community, but I also use Samcart for other reasons. And so I know I pay for extra stuff that I don't have to do, but I do it for a reason. I'm going to tell you the reason now. And it's because there's these different softwares are adding in different features, different kind of add-ins, which at one point you had to connect to something else and pay for another software. But now they're starting to integrate a lot of these within one software. Like by the time this comes out, I don't know if it's going to get announced, but they literally announced that funnel hacking, that ClickFunnels 2.0 is coming out soon, like next year and in Q1 of 2022. That's a huge deal. And they gave a preview of what that is. They're going to be including a lot of softwares that once use Zapier or some sort of integration. Samcart, they just added the course portal. Now you can literally have somebody pay and get the course. That's why I use that for my course right now. And so like if I do a masterclass, it's going to go through Samcart. If I do anything within my agency, I actually do use ClickFunnels for that. And then they just get an automation and get put into my like ClickUp, there's a whole bunch of different ways of how things can connect and why. And you just have to know the softwares. But I was just on ClickFunnels conference that they had on Tuesday this week. So this is getting recorded in November. Like they just came out and said all the updates that's coming to the ClickUp process. And their system, it's going to get rid of a whole nother software that I used to use for my clients. And so it's just like, it's really interesting to watch, but I think having somebody who stays on top of it, and like my team, it gets launched, like we have our notifications on the day it gets launched. My team better be in there learning how to do it, because I'm
Mhm.
going to have a client ask for it the next week. And so,
Yeah.
and it's like, it just happens that way. That's like a part of systems, right? And so we need to know what's happening. And it's so interesting because every software has their like little niche, but like even like Go High Level, yes, they take care of like scheduling and 20 different things, but do they do it right? Do they do it the best way possible? Like, I don't find that anybody can compete with Calendly. I think they do scheduling great. Then they
Yep.
added the payment feature. Then they added the follow-up workflow feature. Like,
Yep.
like all these softwares are adding. And so it's like this weird time we're in. I think when everybody was locked up during quarantine, they got a lot of projects done. And it's
Yeah.
showing. It's showing. I'm not mad at
Yeah. I
it.
think it's also like, I think just the market in general is adapting to that, getting better, right? Because as you know, Go High Level is crushing it right now. They're taking the market by the throat, and
Mhm.
they're then because they're integrating everything all in one place. And I think that they're making a lot of noise, and that all these softwares are, realizing, like
Hurting.
for example, ClickFunnels.
Mhm.
I'm sure maybe it wasn't, Go High Level wasn't the reason why they are adding more things, but I'm sure they saw how a lot of their customers were leaving ClickFunnels to go High Level. Like I personally left ClickFunnels to go to High Level because they
Mhm.
covered everything. But to your point, yeah, I prefer Calendly rather than Go High Level's Calendly. It just
Yeah.
it's it doesn't it's not very mobile friendly, and it
Yeah.
looks very like, it doesn't look good,
It's
right?
bulky.
It's bulky. That's the word I was looking for.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, that's really interesting, and it's pretty cool to see sort of like you yourself, because you're in the space for so much that pretty much like when the new things come out. So that's pretty cool. I was gonna ask you something. What do you think your biggest bottleneck right now is in your company?
So we were talking a little bit about this before, where I felt like I may be the bottleneck. So I actually just got out about 2 months ago. I hired an American, very first American hire. Congrats to me. That's overwhelming sometimes, if you know what goes into hiring an American. And so I did hire my first American, who she's technically full time, about 30 hours with me a week. And she helps with operations, project management, OBM type of work, online business manager type of work for my business. And so I still do a lot of strategy. I do my kind of implementation, give her like what I want, and she makes sure it happens within our own team. And so I was a huge bottleneck in getting stuff done. Our turnaround time, it was a solid 3 months. Like it took 3 months for everything. And right now we're in the process of getting it down to about a month. So we're at like, our last project just got done in a month and a half. And so we're getting closer, but that was a big bottleneck for me. And what I found when going back to who you work with, I found the issues were so deep rooted in like stress, anxiety, can I do this, self-doubt, stuff like that, that to me, I rather hire the staff and have the turnaround time, of a faster turnaround time, and get it done so that the people that I'm working with feel better about themselves in the business. And so that's what that meant for me, was I needed to get out of my own way and hire somebody who can manage these projects and stay on top of the whole team better than I was doing, because I was out here selling, marketing, onboarding, doing the client relationship. I was doing the actual project management, overseeing things, making edits. Like that's a lot to do when you're building multiple systems in one like month, 2 months,
Yeah.
3 months. And so so that was a big bottleneck that I was in my own business, which I literally preach how to get out of this situation with systems. So she came in, spent all of October. We did not take on one client in October, and really built out our back end even more detailed than it was, and trained. We hired one new person that needed complete training, and then I wanted to train up some of the other people who are on my team so they felt more comfortable with like knowing what they were doing. It wasn't just like doing an action.
Right.
And so we spent all October training, getting our own systems and processes set up, of course, managing the projects and the people we had now. And yeah, so that was a huge bottleneck that we got out of. And now at this point, it's going to be where I'm learning the issues is traffic. So I have to learn traffic. I have to learn social media. I have to learn a lot of the organic marketing, paid marketing, all of that stuff in order to keep growing and growing at the pace I want to grow. So the agency, I'll only be taking on about 3 clients a month next year. That's with 1 month turnaround, 3-month contracts, 1 month turnaround though. And then I want to launch a course as well. I've done it a couple times with my real estate people and they absolutely love it. And that's for like people who are either new in business or making less than about $50,000 and they still have the power to do it themselves. They're not too overwhelmed, but they're ready to start having some systems in place so that they could scale quickly. And so I've put together a really, really in-depth course. We're actually recording next week. So it's so exciting. So that's again, like learning traffic, learning that type of marketing stuff is a big, it's a bottleneck and it's something that I've never tried to learn. I've tried to avoid it, I think, at all costs. And so that's me becoming the problem if I don't learn this, and then eventually getting it systemized so I could hire somebody.
Absolutely. Why 3 clients per month?
So that gives us, we onboard, it takes about a whole week. How I like to onboard, it takes about a week. So I like my whole team focused on one project for an entire week so that we can make sure that all the holes got covered. So that's why. So we'll do an onboarding call normally Mondays or Tuesdays, and then get them onboarded, get the rough draft built, project management, basically our whole back end out into the client. So then next week when we go on the phone with the client, we know exactly what's happening. And so we'd have all that ready. Monday we get on the phone with the client. Tuesday we onboard our second client. And then it gives my team a week break.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Very cool. Honestly, I've learned a lot. You honestly, I'm so happy that I got you on the podcast because I've learned a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this right now are going to learn a lot about, systems in general, and how important they are for people to scale. And I really like the fact that you also, you're in the space always learning. So you actually live and breathe systems, right? You're not just someone who just pretends like they know systems and whatnot. So I definitely respect it a lot. So that's pretty cool. Is there anything else you feel like you do want to share to the audience?
Build your systems. That's it. No, really. No, systems are important. And I'm going to try and keep it short because I think this is probably a really long podcast episode. Systems, I literally got into systems because I was at, like what I say where my clients were at, I was there. I had burnout, I had adrenal fatigue, which goes unrecognized in a lot of people, men and women. And I had hormonal imbalance and a vitamin deficiency because I was eating pizza every night. And this is the heaviest I had ever weighed when I started my first business. And I was selling on eBay and Amazon. So it's not anything that's life crazy, depending on anything except me wanting to make more money. And so I just held myself to such a high standard of like what this business was going to look like that I wore myself down so bad that basically, so I see a natural homeopathic doctor or holistic, whatever it's called. Yep. And she basically said that if you want to continue in business, then you need to stop right now. And like, you need to take off these next 2 years and get healthy with me. 2 years, because it's holistic. It's not just a pill. Right. So like that's healing mind, body, spirit, doing the work that I needed to do, losing the weight I had to lose, eating healthy, focusing on my health, focusing on my mental health, stuff like that. And so she didn't force me, of course, because like no doctor would ever force you, but it was very eye-opening to me that I was 26 or 7. I think I was 26 when that happened. And I was premenopausal at 26, which is a big deal. Like I want to have kids. And so I was like, that's a really big deal. Like that this stress and where I'm holding myself at, like, is going to basically change my whole life. And so I got really into systems and started absorbing and learning every single thing I could about systems, because that was the only way I was ever going to grow and change what I was doing and like how I was doing it. So when I say like systems are like amazing, or systems saved my life, or systems, I wouldn't be where I'm at without systems, like I mean that wholeheartedly, that you can literally hurt your future self in ways that you don't even imagine, because we're not educated in those. I've done a ton of research on the body and stress and stuff like depression, anxiety, all that stuff. That is so deep rooted when it comes to your business and how you see yourself, that systems really truly helps you with this stuff. Like I mean that in the like nicest way. Like get serious about, if you're building your business, build systems.
I love that. Yeah, no. People don't realize that systems is not just business. It is honestly around you every single day. Like you are like every day it happens. When you wake up, when you brush your teeth, when you wash your face, when you eat breakfast, that's a system, right?
Yes.
And it's true. And I like the way you broke it down, that like, you need it for your personal life as well as your business, right?
Mhm.
That's actually very huge. I guess before we hop off, I had one more question.
Mhm.
Um, what kind of advice would you give someone who is looking to start, or I guess, yeah, start their own agency, their own systems agency?
Ooh, systems agency. Choose who you want to work with. If you're doing a systems agency, who do you want to work with? Agencies, coaches, real estate people, like choose one and master it. Don't try to be out here saying I use a software and any business can go through a software. Master what that type of industry needs. I have like people all the time, which this is a cool idea for systems agency if anybody wants it. I have like estheticians, like skin, hair, nails, hair cutting, all this stuff that's like really girly, the normal stuff, like how you schedule
Mhm.
people on your chair. Like those people need systems. They have softwares for those people. That's not where I want to focus at, right? That's not agencies. That's not my strong suit. I don't know what the average follow-up is with that, but finding a market that you can just kill it at is going to be number one. And normally that's something that I think that is the best. And so yeah, so that would be my number one. Don't master softwares, don't master um basically, I mean, you could get the software certifications and stuff, but don't overwhelm yourself with the softwares. They're forever going to be changing.
Yeah,
Figure out the skeleton of what this specific industry needs and serve them well. And like if you over communicate, everybody's going to be really happy.
that's huge. That is huge. Niching down and getting
Mhm.
down to the bone of what they
Yeah, because
actually need.
at that point you can have faster turnover, and eventually you can maybe partner with a software where you get affiliate income and stuff like that. But like when you are trying to serve a nail person, a agency, and a coaching business, it gets crazy. At one point, when I didn't know what I was doing, I had a whole bunch of businesses. I had an agency, a
Yeah.
lawyer, a real estate investor, and a coaching client.
Mm.
That is a whole mess. Like, do you know how many businesses you have to know? Granted, I've done all the research, so I know. And because I've done like all the years of coaching people, I used to do business coaching, so I know all about them. But that doesn't mean I'm like amazing at all of them or building all of them. And that was something that I had to have a rude awakening on, of like what that was going to look like. And once I niched down, it made this like a slam dunk. That's how I could get my turnover time to a month and a half. Like, because if I were to just take on anybody, it wouldn't work.
So key takeaway, niche down, get down to the bone of the
Mhm.
business, and I can actually serve them at your best of ability. Honestly, that is great advice for anyone that's watching this. If an agency owner, because a lot, again, keep in mind, this is going to agency owners and coaches.
Mhm.
So how can someone reach out to you if they need help with their systems? What's the best way to contact you?
So the best way, I'm always on Instagram at Megan Galane, which Johnny will put out, but you can always DM me. I'm in my DMs every day. That's how you got a hold of me. Like DMs is like one of the best ways. And then the link in my bio always has an application to work with me. I do like applications. Don't be afraid. And I hate that applications have come to this. Don't be afraid thinking that applications mean like that you can't afford it or that it's like some crazy price. No, I have applications so I know about you. I can do the research so that I can walk into the discovery call ready to know what you're talking about. And I have packages. I have a course that it's hybrid that I'll be launching in February, March-ish time. And that's $2,000. And then my services goes all the way up to 15,000. So I have a range of different products, and I'll hop on a discovery call and tell you what I think fits for you best. But I'll tell you all about all of them if you want to choose. So I'm really open to helping you out and knowing what your issues are to see like how you can really grow. But
I love that.
Instagram's
Awesome.
the way to find me.
There you go, guys. So that's Megan, a systems genius. I'm so happy that you came on the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Of
And
course.
yeah,
Thanks for having me. That was fun. I don't think this is my first podcast interview, all about systems. It's exciting.